Hey guys, good evening. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead and settle in and get your props. I'm just going to be one more minute getting my props here. Good evening, good evening. We're going to be about a minute and a half. Just going to wait for a couple more folks and get your props all ready. So again, at night and evening, we do tend to have more props available. So go ahead and grab those. I was getting cozy, doing some back therapy earlier. So now it's all about thigh therapy. I'm a big fan of just lying on a comfy blanket. So go ahead and open up your blanket, half-seas, and put it on the width, the length of your mat. And it will just be about another minute. Okay, so go ahead and grab one thing you will need in addition to all our blankets and all our props and all our bolsters or whatever you have on hand in terms of pillows, blankets, whatever. We're going to need another blanket or a towel like we did last night to roll up for later in the class, okay? So without further ado, those of you who are all set and ready, we'll just do some centering. So come into any position that you like in terms of comfort, okay? We are going to start the class after our centering on our backs. So you can either start there or come into a hero or a sukhasana, easy pose, whatever feels good to you. And like always, just setting the stage, coming into the space, coming into the room. Noticing as you close the eyes, just the state of the room that you're in, okay? The state of the room, meaning the sounds that are going on. I hear my diffuser percolating over here. We have eucalyptus and black spruce and clementine today. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous combination. Inhale and exhale, relax the shoulders. Feel the sitting bones, those bony knobs in your butt root down. And lift the rest of your spine tall, just feeling like there's a puppet string lifting up the top of your head. And notice other sounds that are going on around you, around your house, around your neighborhood. And as you breathe into the belly, kind of notice the day, right? Like take it all in and then just leave it. By the end of the practice, we'll get rid of any strain associated with the experiences of the day, hopefully. And here I want you to bring loving kindness to yourself. I want you to say an affirmation like, may I be healthy and strong. May I be filled with kindness and love. May I be well in a physical sense. May I be mentally well and free of stress. May my heart be filled with love and kindness. May I feel a sense of power and confidence. May I feel strength and stability and comfort. And just allow this to be you. Allow this to be your natural state. What we'll be working with today is not only opening the thighs and in turn the hip flexors, but also, because of stretching the thighs, stretching some of the muscles around the knees, right? Kind of opening, loosening the joints of the knees. And also, in turn, hopefully getting rid of some tension that might cause back pain. And so as you just kind of settle into this state, notice that many times the stress that we experience in a day causes all of these chronic pains that people have, right? Just by tightening fascia around the muscles, right? Just by, like when you have an injury or something, there's all this liquid that kind of sets in to hurt the injury, but we need to relax around that to be able to let that injury heal, let that fluid inflammation go back to where it came from, and really start to understand that having a life with less stress causes less pain physically. Okay, so without further ado, bring your hands together at the heart. We'll take a big inhale and sound of peace together. Inhale, and as you exhale, release the hands. Go ahead and start to come up off of that block, okay? And release that. You're going to settle down onto your back. So if you have the blanket underneath you for, on your back, then let your feet be down on the mat. Okay, so I want that to be nice and grippy. Okay, so we're going to come down onto our backs. Keep the knees bent. Keep the feet on the yoga mat. Good. And then from here, right, yesterday we actually stayed here for a while and did some constructive rest. So I actually wanted to do that today, but I forgot my scarf. So actually, without the props, let's go ahead and just see if we can stay here for a moment with the knees not splaying out in either direction. If they fall in, that's better than out, right? But go ahead and let the knees come straight up. Straight up, not down. All right. And then let the hands relax just right on the hip flexors. And so with this long back, right, with the head coming up and back, and with the spine nice and long. Good. Just release the breath and feel yourself sink into the floor. Feel yourself sink in. Just feel yourself be grounded today. Feel yourself connect. So the yin, today's practice is yin-inspired. So again, it's longer held poses. So we're going to stay in each pose longer than we typically do for a flow, which is like 5 long breaths per side per pose. The yin is much more drawn out. And the idea, again, as we lay here and kind of chillax in our constructive rest pose, the idea is that we don't typically give ourselves enough time and enough practice in constructive rest, meaning not rest where we're just sleeping, like go, 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 go until we sleep. We're actually giving ourselves time to heartfully relax into postures and just be there until you actually feel gravity doing its job to just kind of pull the hands into the floor. Okay? So I want you to think about this as we're going through each yin posture. Typically, each one is held for about 5 minutes, actually, instead of 5 breaths. And so there is a time and place for both of these. I love both. I love all the yogas that I have done. And then from here, just get used to, even though you're in a rest pose, you're finding strength too. You're finding strength from the feet being rooted down. You're actually feeling strength from the hands eventually being rooted down. So go ahead and start to press the fingertips down, okay, and push the elbows in. And as you let the back of the head become really firm, right, into the mat, into the blanket, go ahead and push down the forearms, push down the feet, start to roll the shoulder blades together and lift up into that bridge pose. Okay, so even though this can be like a structured and strengthening pose, today we're going to feel the knees kind of reaching away from us, rooting down into those hands, but nothing super tight, just kind of like rooted. Okay, you just start to open these tops of the thighs, reaching the knees away from you. Last one here, inhale. And as you exhale, root down all the way, kind of roll down. Good. We're going to do this 2 more times, and then we're going to add a little bit to the legs. Okay, nothing too strenuous today, but I did want you to feel some strength, because in order to feel healthy in the knees and the thighs, we also want to strengthen them. And we're just going to do a little bit of that today, because we typically strengthen them as we walk, as we work out, right? So typically people don't have to strengthen as much as relax into this. So go ahead and bring the hands down, root down through the feet. Inhale, lift. Roll the shoulder blades together, right? Squeeze the legs to the point where they're just hips distance and rooting down, but nothing more. Not really squeezing, right? Like you're kind of aligning the knees on top of the ankles as you have this idea of bringing them forward. Good. 3 and 2. Inhale to roll all the way down. Now, if this is a little much for you for whatever reason, you can actually bring a block or a firm pillow right under the low back for this third one, and you can just rest on there, okay? We're just going to do one more, though, here. Root down, and then lift the hips high. Roll the shoulder blades just a little bit, just to feel a lift, right? So you're not kind of crunching in the shoulders. You want to let the neck be nice and loose and open. And again, the thighs are as if they're having a block in between them. Last one. Inhale, lift, and then exhale, roll all the way down. Good. You can keep your hand, what are these? These are hips. Keep your bum and hips down. Inhale, open the hands all the way behind you. Exhale, release. Remember, yawn is just letting oxygen into the body, so go ahead and allow yourself to do that anytime you need to. Okay. So every inhale, I'm bringing the hands overhead. Every exhale, I'm letting them fall either by my hips or overhead, right? Inhale. Exhale, release it down. Just kind of opening, stretching the undersides of the arms. You're down. Inhale. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to forget the next thing I was going to do because it's not pertinent to what we're doing today. And I think we have a lot to accomplish. So as you bring your hands overhead, go ahead, keep them there. And what we're going to do is roll over to the left side as you extend the left foot and leg beyond. Okay, so as you roll over, you're going to bring your right hand straight down in front of your breastbone. And this back arm is just kind of reaching out behind you. Now, notice how my right knee is bent and kind of hanging out there. You can keep it here. My toes are down. What we're going to do, though, is try to balance and bring our hand to reach behind our foot. Now, if you have a strap with you and you can't reach this foot, you're going to use it today as a prop to bring the ankle closer. So all of mine I'm going to use just with my hands, but for everything that I cue, you can place a strap around, in this case, the ankle, the front of the foot, and just bring it in. Now, this is actually a balance pose as well. Okay, so I'm using my core front and back. And when I say my core, I talk about the entire core line from all the muscles surrounding the spine on both sides, front and back. And I'm just stretching out that right thigh. Good. For 3 and 2. Root down. And as you inhale, if you'd like to stretch it out, you can open it back up. You can even bring the foot to the ceiling for a second, right? Just to do a counter stretch. It's not necessary, but just to counter it out, right? And if you can't do this, maybe you're in a tree pose or something. Just whatever you can do here. And then you inhale back to your back, and I'm going to be turning my voice away from you. So just again, find neutral, you're right, into your constructive rest pose. You're going to inhale the arms behind you, and then exhale, roll over to that right side. Let the head rest, the left toes can point down, the knees can point up for a moment. And then when you're ready, you can grab that strap and wrap it around, or you just grab the foot. Now make sure the knee doesn't stay up. You want to actually pull the knee into hips distance. And then start to tuck the tailbone under if your body tends to be lordotic like that. You want to tuck the tailbone under and make sure that the knees, again, are in line with the hips. I'm going to hold it here for about 1.5 minutes. And as you inhale, start to release that. Bring your hand down if you need it. Bring the knee up if you need it. And then you can keep it in tree, right? You can just do a little counter stretch. Maybe hold the thigh or the toe. Find the balance. And then inhale back to center on your back. Find that neutral one more time. Okay. Just 3 breaths here. 2. And as you exhale, roll over to one side. Root yourself down and come all the way up. You're going to remove the blanket from your mat. Just kind of toss it over to the side. Good. And from here, we're actually just coming into a little dynamic flow through our cobra. Okay, so as you come on to your hands and knees, we're just going to start to inhale forward a little bit, exhale back. Now you can decide if the back toes want to be tucked under or not, right? Inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back. I kind of go back and forth. It just kind of depends on what my feet need. I often will kind of tap out my feet like this as well. Just loosen up, right? And it's good today because we're standing on our feet all day, so we like to counter stretch that, okay? And as you inhale forward and exhale back, you can go as deep or as shallow as you like. We're actually on the next one going to come safely forward all the way as you keep your elbows in, lower down. And then plant your hands here, nice and strong. Roll the shoulders back and lift up into a little cobra. Good. 3 here. Lift the knees, lift the belly. Good. Relax the shoulders. And as you exhale down through the forehead, root down, keep the elbows in, and come all the way back. You can take a child's pose here, or you can take a puppy. So the hips stay high in puppy, the hands come away from you, drop the forehead, and open up underneath the armpits, or however it feels good in your rest pose. Good. And 3, and 2. Good. As you inhale, we're going to come up and we're going to grab, if only if you need it, the props or the chair. I don't have my chair in front of me tonight. But you guys by now, if you've done my videos, have understood how to prop yourself. So we're just going to come into a lizard dynamic lunge. So we usually bring our foot all the way through the center. We're actually going to bring it over to the side. So we're going to bring it over to the side today. Okay, and the hands are in the middle. Now you don't need a prop for this. You can just bring your hands all the way down. Okay, I just tend to like to stay a little lifted. Okay, and so from here, we're going to inhale, open up the thighs, right, that front thigh, and exhale, release it down. Now yesterday, if you did my hip opener session, we did some really deep hip opening, right? And so we won't spend a ton of time here today. Or was it 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. I'm still feeling it from that, by the way. So if you are too, that's good. Inhale, lift, exhale. So we're starting to lubricate the joints, right? Inhale, open up that front leg, exhale, release. Inhale, open up, exhale, release. Now, we're actually going to stay in some version of the lizard for a little bit as a yin posture, okay? So if you know you want to stay and be really supported like we were last night or this week, then we're going to go ahead and grab some postures. If you just, some bolsters. If you want to just stay lifted here, you can stay lifted. But I am going to give you another thigh stretch to deepen it, okay? So we're going to be here for a little bit, so I'm actually going to grab postures. So start to set up into whatever version of lizard you want to stay in. So again, the right foot is on the outside of your hip, okay? And you're just going to kind of lean into this and allow the entire torso, if that feels good to you, to have rest down onto the belly, okay? And that right knee can splay way out to the side. You can't see it because I'm covering, but your right knee can splay way out to the side. And the way you do that is lift the arch of your right foot, okay? So you can come on down here. And just rest into this, okay? We're opening the thigh here, opening the back underside of the thigh, but I'll show you how we're going to deepen this in just a moment. As you inhale, I want you to start to scooch, tuck the back toe and scooch that back knee back even more, okay? If you need a pillow or a blanket underneath that back thigh, then, that back knee, if you're about to thigh stretch with me, then please do that for support. You're going to bend that back knee. I'm actually going to push off my left hand and start to turn toward the knee that's bent, okay? You can move the right toes out to the side. You'll see it better when I'm on this side. You can move the right toes out to the side to open the hip more. And you're just going to take that thigh and bring it in, bring the foot in for a nice deep stretch. Now, if this is too much for you, don't worry about it. We just kind of start to come out of it like we just were, back and forth and back and forth. Okay, and we will meet you there in a second, but this is such an amazing thigh stretch. And again, you're using the strap. If you can't get this deep, you're using the strap and just holding it here and pulling it, holding it this way. But you're trying to, instead of a pull, you're trying to let gravity do its thing. Good. Take several more breaths here, or if you need to come out and do a modified rest, then we will meet you back here in a minute. As you inhale, start to release that. Okay, start to either bring yourself back up, or I'm so comfy on my belly right now, I'm just going to lie down and then reach my leg back and then start to push up this way. Okay, now I'm just moving my props out of the way so I can do that left side. And remember, we're just swinging, instead of a full lunge, we're swinging the leg around and coming out the outside. And then inhaling, letting your hips just release, right? Or actually, exhaling rather. Inhale, you're coming back, okay? Exhaling, releasing forward. Inhaling back. Exhale forward. So again, if you've done any really deep hip opening recently, if you feel really tight here, you want to go real slow, okay? And so you're just lubricating the joints, inhaling back, exhaling forward. And just keep breathing nice and slow here, okay? Because you know where we're going. We're heading towards that restorative lizard. We're going to be there for a while. So we want this underside of the thigh to be nice and stretched out. The hammy. Good. Now, if you are ready to come into your version of lizard, go for it. I'm just going to do one or two more. So it's kind of like whenever you feel even from the first side, right? This side's much tighter on me. And so instead of going by amounts or time, I'm just going by feeling of how my body feels in terms of balance. And so as you inhale back, get your props ready, your blankets, whatever you're going to do. You can also just come into a full lizard without props. But I'm letting the front of my pelvis actually kind of sit down on this. And then I'm just going to come down and set up my props so that I can try to relax. Okay. Much tighter on this side today. And now remember, for me, it's a little easier to actually open up that left knee. Okay, so just as an example, you can press the right hand into the mat and start to really release and open that left side so the arch of the foot lifts up a little bit. And I'm actually going to stay open on this side here. Still use this prop as support. Just relaxing your arm down if you can, right? Sometimes it's nice to open the heart and do a little twist or relax into it. Trying to relax the mind, saying that mantra to yourself again. May I be at peace. May I find loving kindness within myself. May I be healthy. May I be full of loving kindness. May I be stable. And then start to release the back foot back more. So sometimes I tuck the toe to do this and release the knee back more because I want to be more on the thigh eventually than the knee. And then I start to do that thigh stretch. Now you can just keep it here. You can bring your hand to your knee. If it's not complicated to bring a strap around that back thigh, then you can go for it. And if you are feeling tight and you know you can go deeper, you just have to settle your hips down more, reach the knee back more, and then when you're ready, right, you can open up into that thigh. So you can stay here if you find a stable, comfy spot for a few moments. Breathe deep into any new tension, any tightness. And try to let it go. You can stay here much longer if you like, a few moments, or you can start to release. And again, I'm just going to let gravity pull my torso down. Okay. And you can stay here on your mat, but we're actually going to come onto our belly, okay? So you're going to push off your props if you landed on them like I did. So comfy like a cloud. And then release all the way onto your belly. Now on your belly, bring your hands right below your forehead and see if you can bring your forehead to your hands, okay? And just wiggle your hips. Now from here, right, another pose I was actually going to do beforehand that could have been a modification for that last one, but it's just another deep stretch. So we can either grab your strap and bring your right forearm down to kind of lift yourself up, and then reach around and grab that thigh. You might stay here, or you might pull it in, okay? And again, the knees are hips distance here. They're not splayed out to the side, right? Because that's going to pull on the knee joint. You want them straight back. So it doesn't matter how far you can bring that knee, bend the knee and bring the foot in. You just want to work with what you have, okay? So some people might want to stay here on the forearm. I'm going to lower my forehead and just relax it down and pull this in just as far as it's comfortable, as far as I'm able. And go ahead again, try to relax into this posture. Now, those of you who have any tightness in the back, I want you to start to kind of root down, like kind of tuck the tailbone under, at least lengthen it behind you. Okay, that tail at the end of your spine. Just a few more breaths here. And as you inhale, release that. Go ahead and you can find a cobra in the middle. And we're just going to come back to the second side. So again, bringing your forearm down first. And then bending that knee, just seeing where you're at on this side. Could be totally different. Okay, noticing here. Pull it in, hips distance. Maybe grab the strap. Okay, you could be way up here. And you can lower down if you have the strap. Okay, so pick your version. Get comfy with it. And then lie down or stay lifted to your content. When you're ready, you can release that. Go ahead and bring your hands into a cobra. If it feels good to you, you can come lifted. Remember not to bring the shoulders up. You want to relax them. And you might even come up into an up dog, right? And really feel the hip flexors in the front body open up here. Spread your fingers wide. You're bringing your weight into your fingertips and all your knuckles and finger pads, not just your wrists. Last two. Relax the shoulders down. Last one. Exhale, come all the way down just to stay safe with it. Root down and lift all the way back. You can come into another puppy or child's pose if you like here. Bring the hands towards each other if you want a deeper stretch in the underarms. Bring the hands to prayer above your head if you want even a deeper stretch here. Good. From here. Now, I don't think we'll have time today to do standing, so I'm going to do, so that version that we just did on our belly, think about that. If you're standing, right, you can do that same thing. You can also do it here on your knees, okay? You can kind of pull the knee in, bend the knee, pull the foot in. And then same thing, you want to learn how to like tuck the tailbones. For some reason, so for some people that's really hard. For some people, they actually have to go the opposite way, try to curl it back, right? But you can also try this in any version, okay? So the next version, you can also do in half moon, okay? What we're gonna do is from our standing on shins, we're just gonna release our right hand down and start to kickstand the right foot to the side. So I'm gonna face you. Kickstand that right foot to the side, okay? And as you open up, the left foot comes behind you. So you're on your mat and the left foot comes behind you. Now from here, we're going to lean into that right side, open up the back leg. And if you can, stretch it out, okay? And if you can, again, you're going to bend the knee. Now again, you might not be able to grab the foot, so you're going to grab that strap wherever it is, kind of step on the strap of the loop, hold both the straps in front of you, and then as you bend the knee, you can open up the strap here, okay? But for some of us, we're just going to grab that foot or ankle and just open it up here. Open the heart, lift open here for 3 and 2. And as you inhale, reach it out. Good. And all we're going to do, guys, is kind of come forward into our tabletop this way. We're going to crisscross. And as you plant the left hand, you're going to open that right foot out behind you. And then open up this side. So you just start to feel this opening in the whole front body, okay? You can start to feel nice and aligned and straight. I kind of go back and forth until I find my sweet spot, right? And then stretch it out. Really feel planted in that left side. And then as you open up, you can open that back leg. And then again, work up with your strap, strapping your leg, bringing it behind you, or bringing your hand to your foot or your ankle and opening it up. So heart opener, hip flexor opener, 3 and 2. As you inhale, stretch it back out. And then as you exhale, come all the way back. Now you can sit in hero for a moment. You could sit in, do a little flow. But we're going to end with two things, and then we'll come into Shavasana. We're going to grab your towel. Okay, so grab your towel that you have rolled up. Grab a sip of water or tea. I have my doTERRA immune support tea. I adore it. It's so beautiful. Okay, now for this one, we're going to need to sit on some props. So I have my blocks here. Now what we're going to do here is a little fun intensity. So we're going to take our towel and roll it up really, really tight. Not fully. For me, I'll show you. I'm just going to roll it like 2 or 3 times. And you're going to let the tail kind of hang. Now what we're going to do is bring this back into our knee pits. Okay? So what I do to get into it is I lean forward, get my head rested on something for a sec, and just, hoodie, and just bring this and stick it way into my knee pits. Okay? And then I'm going to sit back onto my knee pits, and it's not going to feel lovely. And here's why we do this. I'm going to grab my blocks or my props. Now, if you don't have really sturdy blocks to hold you up, you might have to really create some love back here for your booty to sit on. Okay, something like that. That feels pretty good. And then what the point of this is, though, is we're actually squishing our thighs, our calves rather, open, and we're kind of massaging the muscles of our calves, but we're also, with this, opening the joints of our knees. And some people think that that is something that would hurt their knees, but actually what makes a joint healthy is to be able to bring it through its full range of motion consistently. And most people don't have a full flexion, don't go into a full flexion of the knees like this, right? We were meant to be able to do this in squats and stuff like that. So, but most people don't do that. And so what we're doing here is finding some intensity, again, through that towel. Now, what we're also doing here is the bottoms of my feet are being very stretched. Now, if this hurts the bottoms of your feet, then you just need to sit on a blanket. So lay that blanket out again so that the tops of your feet are just not super crushed, right? They're being supported. And again, this support under my bum helps a lot. If I wanted to be really more intense, I would just allow the weight of my body go down onto my calves. So I want you to try to relax here for just a few more moments, okay? Look ahead, close the eyes, relax the shoulders. About 3 more full body inhales and exhales. Okay. Now start to really support yourself as you roll forward. You can push into blocks or props or whatever you have. And just start to get up and roll forward. You can move however you like to get the kinks out, start to feel normal again. You can go into a down dog, okay? Just go ahead and release all that. I am going to start to set up for Supta Virasana. And this is supine hero pose. So what I'm going to do is some of you are going to need this to be very, very tall, okay? If you've never done this before, if this is very new to you, we want to be super supported. And I'm actually going to build quite a tall one myself. So as you can see, I have 2 bolsters here. You might want to undo your towel and just bring that on top. I'm also going to take my towel, my blanket rather, and fold it lengthwise, fold it in half, fold it again. Okay, and that is probably pretty good for me. Once again, we're going to come into that same Virasana. So your tops of your feet, okay, are going to be a little bit squished. And you might want a towel or blanket underneath your feet there. So here, you might also want something under your bum. And here's why. When we come back to sit in Virasana, right, I'm going to use this and just sit right back on it. You want your thighs to be in line here with the knees, okay? So the toes also want to be straight back. And here's why. They want to be flat. All toes should be somewhat touching, unless you have funky toes, right? And like they're curling around or something. But you want to try to get all 5 toes touching. And then make sure they're all kind of facing back. Now, if you're totally flat without the block, you want to start to push your calves literally away from you and then start to settle in so that your bum comes all the way down to the mat. So now, even though my legs are pretty straight under here, they are a little just flattened out with the calf, okay? But I am going to sit with something under my bum just for a little more safety, a little more comfort. So here I am, and I'm sitting my back way back against this propped situation, okay? You want to bring it pretty close. Now here, ideally, if you have extra props, you're going to bring them under here for your arms to settle into, okay? So like a block on one side, towel on one side, whatever you have. And you're going to start to lean back. Now you'll notice pretty quickly if this is too high or too low. If this is uncomfortable for you, you want to put even more pillows right here. Not way down, but right here. Now, as you start to settle back, you actually want to start to tuck your tailbone a lot underneath you. So I'm actually tucking the flesh, the buttock flesh, and I'm tucking the tailbone. And then I'm starting to lean back. And then finally, you can relax into your Supta Virasana. And then once you're back there, if you feel any more pain, notice if you can just keep tucking the spine underneath you, right? The tailbone underneath, tucking the butt flesh underneath. Keep it classy, Jenny. And then just relax the hands down, okay? I always relax my hair back too. Okay, your ribs will poke up. Let them, hallelujah. And then here, ideally, you could stay for quite a long time. I don't need this block under here, that's for sure. Okay. And so here, just again, saying your mantras to you. I am, may I have a healthy body. May I have a healthy mind. May my words be filled with loving kindness. May my heart be filled with loving kindness. May I be stable and secure. May I exude confidence and power and compassion. And again, just breathing into this. There's an idea, they've actually done tons of studies where so many people in the Western culture have back pain compared with Eastern cultures. And it might be due to our sedentary nature. It also might be due to tension, as I was talking about before, which causes all of the fascia and the muscles to just tense up around everything. And it also might partly be due to the fact that we don't allow or want pain. We always think of pain as something bad. Well, athletes and lifters know that you need pain for gain, right? Marathon runners. And so we're actually trying to move past the pain here, right? Doing this stretch that maybe you haven't been used to. And again, if this is way too much for you, you're just reaching down into the elbows and reaching down into the hands and starting to lift up through the heart, okay? and coming back to neutral. You might come back into neutral Virasana. You might start to come out, and I'll come out for you in a second. It just feels so good. Right? Because we have to build up to it. So if that first posture with the towel in the knees was a little intense for you, then you might want to do that a couple times a week, maybe 3 times a week, right? Once you kind of recover from it each time. Just see if you can relax for just a few more moments here. Or relax in any position you decided to come out into. And then as you exhale, right, keep, in a sense, keep relaxing as you come up, because you don't want to tense to come up, but you do want to feel support. So sometimes I push onto a part of my foot, right, and you want to kind of lift with the heart here, lift up, and then slowly start to bring yourself all the way up. And as a counter pose, we're not going to forward fold completely, but we are going to come off and come into a tabletop. And you can just very lightly, very slowly wiggle side to side, okay? And just notice in your wiggles, if you need to do anything else, you might want to just flap those feet again, right, to release some of the tension. If it feels good to just come back to a tuck toe, really lightly move those feet around, those ankles around, okay? Now to counter that, we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to come into a Shavasana state. So you can come straight into a Shava. I'm actually going to come into something similar that we've been doing this week in our restorative postures, which is bring one block underneath, or one pillow underneath, and then another block the tall way, or taller pillows or stacked pillows or blankets under the top part. It's funny, I can't keep these restorative sequences down to 45 minutes because we stay there for so long, and it feels so glorious. So here, I'm going to bring a blanket on top, so it's nice and comfy, and then bring myself back over this way. Now, you can bring your feet in together for Supta Baddha Konasana, but I'm just going to extend my feet. And I'm actually going to bring another prop under the knees. So again, these are all just options. Okay, a lot of people love Supta Baddha Konasana, so bringing their feet together, opening the knees. And you can, of course, bring blankets and leftover props underneath the knees. I'm going to relax into this lovely posture here with an open heart, okay? And relaxing my hands. Now you can also come to a regular Shavasana if you're like, this is too much posturing, Jenny. You can just come and relax into your Shava. I don't know about you, but that really released my hip flexors and my thighs. So I hope you feel glorious here. We're just going to take a few moments in Shava. Shivaya Gurave Sachitananda Murtaye Nishapanchaya Shantaya Nirayambaya Tejase. Deepen your breath. If you are in Shavasana, in a full supine pose, then you can start to deepen the breath and bring the knees toward the chest. If you're on bolsters, just roll to one side. Either resting if you're low to the ground, or just rolling up if you're already kind of lifted. And then as you come into your seated position, go ahead, bring your hands together at the heart. And we'll end on a full Om, sounding our peace together, joining as we inhale. May all beings know peace. May all beings know love. May the light in me shine to that light in you. Thank you so much for practicing today with me tonight. For that deep hip flexor and thigh opening. Again, we're diffusing black spruce and eucalyptus, which I find personally have the same. There's something so similar about them. Eucalyptus is very strong in opening the airways. Black spruce, though, is like you're in the middle of a forest with a similar smell, but more like a tree. And then diffusing clementine, citrus with it. Gorgeous, gorgeous combination to just kind of release all the tension into clear airways, into clear blockages. So thank you for your support of community, of just being here and practicing, and also for your contribution. For those of you who have also lost independent contracting gigs, I don't want anything from you, but I appreciate so much the donations for those who can and are able and are willing. So we'll meet you here tomorrow morning for a Friday flow, and we'll see you soon. Have an awesome day, guys. Bye-bye.